They walked in as customers of the Lindt Cafe. Within moments, they were hostages.
Everyone move! Move!
He said, don't open your eyes. You open your eyes, I'll shoot you.
We are being tested today in Sydney.
This is an attack on Australia by the Islamic State.
I want to terrorise millions of Australians. In reality, that is what he did.
I thought now is the time to make you move.
I swear I could feel pellets flying past my ears.
I just remember running into the arms of the police.
So random and tragic that two of them lie.
It started off, oversleeping my alarm, running late, having a longer shower than usual, running sporadically, shirt half unbuttoned, shoe on one foot, running towards my car and heading to Burwood Station.
Just caught the bus in the morning from across my house, got there around 7, so just before we opened. Walked up to Martin Place, knocked on the door.
Yeah, it was a normal day. Came in, Tori opens the door for me. He greets me like he always does, and big smile.
We had some orders for ice cream and stuff at 7:30 in the morning, which was a bit unusual, but it was okay.
On that morning, I was down to see my eye specialist, Dr. Chang, in Macquarie Street. And then after that, I usually go down to the Lindt Cafe and have a coffee.
I made my way across to the Lindt Café, where I'd always been to buy presents for someone in the office, a thank you for someone. And I walked in, and I thought I have plenty of time. I might get a hot chocolate.
We got there about 8:30. We were very early for the barrister at 10.
Yes.
Very quickly, the hot chocolate came and I put everything in. I noticed to my right, who I later learnt were Louisa and Robin. They were sitting there and talking and...
We're just watching everybody else in the cafe, and one of the girls came in and she actually had some new Louis Vuittons on, actually, and they were commenting and we were just joking, exchanging.
Julie would have a weak skim latte and Katrina would have a dark hot chocolate with skim milk, and they would always share a piece of sourdough toast with 2 butter and 2 Vegemite. Always. They like their Vegemite.
I was complaining like I usually do about it being too early in the morning. Tori's telling me, no, it's going to be a good day, everything's going to be fine.
He actually come in and he ordered, and he's very restless walking around before he sat down. And then he constantly put his right arm up, asking for attention of the staff.
He was a tall man, quite solid, but he looked very average, very street, very normal in that regard.
I saw him sitting in the corner and he had this whole cake in front of the one that I just made, and there was one tiny little piece eaten from it. So, yeah, I was like, oh, I hope it's not bad.
I walked past table 40 again, because it is on the way to the kitchen from our station. And then Tori was sitting down.
I saw Monis and Tori sitting at the table there, quite calmly talking.
I was like, oh, he must be complaining about the cake.
He was writing something down on paper, and he also had a phone to his ear. And I could just hear the words, "he wants," coming from Tori.
And then I just saw Tori facing him, bright red, hands down, sad and frightened.
To see him in this different temperament, I knew something must be terribly wrong.
The look on his face in the conversation, it was a man of deep concern.
Tori asked me to come over, and I was like, oh, what's the problem, blah, 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 blah. And Tori said to me pretty deadpan, lock the doors, everything's okay, no one's in danger, tell all the staff that everything's all right.
Jared came over to me and he said, something doesn't really feel right.
And I said, I don't think we're in danger. I think the Reserve Bank is getting robbed next door.
At one point I thought the gunman was maybe like an undercover, or I thought he was maybe an undercover police officer just trying to contain everyone.
And I noticed to the side, there were people at the glass door and they were trying to get in, but I couldn't see whether they could or couldn't.
Suddenly people were saying, oh, the doors are locked. And I'm thinking, oh, well, the door's locked, we better get rolling. It was very close to the time we needed to go upstairs anyway.
And I remember looking out and Ellie came towards and I said, can I have the bill, please? And she just looked a bit shaken, a bit weird. And I remember Louisa kind of looking, and I thought, it's a bit odd, okay.
I got up and walked over to the counter and actually paid for our breakfast. And one of the little girls who served us was quite distracted, actually, and I'm thinking, what's wrong with you? You know, sweetheart, and she, quite gobsmacked she was, really.
Jared had come to the back after he had locked all the doors, and he said, everything's not all right, everything's not okay, of which he had handed me a pair of scissors and a Stanley box cutter. He goes, just take these just in case. And I was like, wow. I was like, okay.
And I just remember seeing a blue bag, turquoise bag. It was big. And I looked at this man, and these were just nanoseconds. And I looked at this man, and he looked at me. He almost gave me a wry smile.
Just like an evil grin on his face.
And I was like, well, no one's gonna know we're closed. So I wrote this little sign saying closed with a permanent marker on a piece of paper, and I was gonna go stick it on the door. I was just looking down as I walked out of the kitchen back into the main room, and I just hear someone say, what the F are you doing?
As soon as I walked out of the kitchen area, a customer had asked him why all the doors being locked, and that's when he started yelling.
Move! Everyone move!
Up. And he started yelling out to move. And he started basically saying, right, move, just move in there. And he started rambling about Australia. This is an attack on Australia by the IS.
By the Islamic State.
I'm thinking, is this some sort of, twisted joke?
I was like, okay, so is he an undercover, or is he here to harm us?
That was the moment when, my heart kind of, sank and dropped. And, my gut instinct was just like, is this, what I think it is? It was a bit surreal. Because with the terror alert, being raised, there was talk of, Martin Place being a hotspot for, any kind of attack.
I never thought that my little cafe was going to be at the centre of any serious attack or anything like that.
He had placed a bandana across his head, and the flag, it was instantly recognisable.
As soon as he pulled out the shotgun, I was thinking, well, I don't think an undercover would casually pull out a shotgun. And he removed his cap, and he had a bandana with the Shahada Arabic script on it. And I was thinking, okay, this is definitely not an undercover.
I feel like I could die today, but I wasn't frightened of it.
Don't move! Put your hands up and close your eyes.
Don't open your eyes. You open your eyes, I'll shoot you.
I was thinking, just close your eyes. Just do it as he says. This has made everyone so nervous,
I want to terrorise millions of Australians. So that's, in reality, that is what he did, so.
One of his demands was that he spoke on live radio to Tony Abbott. But more than that, he wanted public acknowledgement of what he was doing and what was going on.
For Australia to know that Australia was under attack by the IS, and 2 hostages would be released, and by the IS state. And if Mr. Abbott was on the phone with him, live, it had to be live, 5 hostages would go and be released.
The demands were so bizarre, so domestic, so local. Not some massive, great, big terrorist hero who wanted some big thing to happen all over the world. No. Little domestic issues, a tiny little flag, Tony Abbott to speak on the radio, my goodness. And, Australia's under attack.
He'd make Jared write down the 3 demands on a piece of paper between the phone calls we were making and then scrambling down the radio station's numbers, the channel's website address, the phone numbers, who to contact.
So I spoke to the police negotiators and multiple media outlets. I had about 4 phones in front of me, and they just would not stop ringing.
We were like, his little servants. He'd get them, get us to, call the negotiators to tell the police, to go away or move all the cars on Phillip Street, and what he made us do.
He always had a middle party, which was, at first, was Louisa, then it was myself for quite a long time,
Hi, my name is Jared Morton-Hoffman. I'm currently a hostage at Lindt Chocolate Cafe, Martin Place. The gentleman would like me to tell you that there's 2 cars on Phillip Street. There's one armour guard truck, and then there's a Volkswagen truck.
Okay.
He wants every car,
Yeah.
basically, that's on Phillip Street, surrounding, like on that road near Lindt, removed. So any car that is near any window of Martin Place, he wants removed.
Has he got anything else that he needs to say?
Is there anything else you need to say? Yeah. He keeps his word. He was about to shoot this lady in front of me.
He was about to shoot me, and then the police moved as he instructed on time. So please do on time. I don't want to die.
We were creating the buzz of where are the police, where's the government, where's Tony Abbott? You know, why haven't they responded? We're all alone here.
Marcia was in the corner and she was taking those phone calls, and it was Peter the negotiator who was speaking to her, and she kept saying, Peter, he wants an IS flag. What is wrong with getting this 1 metre cloth? And again, reiterating demands. No, he does not want to speak to you or anyone other than the Prime Minister. Please help us.
We all know the drill. There is no way that the Prime Minister is going to speak to a terrorist. Nobody would have really thought that. Of course, we were playing that why isn't he ringing?
You, go to the window.
So then he pulled me up to one of the windows. So I was standing at one of the windows with my eyes closed and my hands on the window.
He pulls a flag out of his backpack.
Then he said, here, take this flag, you.
I think everyone did end up like holding the flag as well to the window, but he just rotated a lot of people around during the day.
That's when it started to sink in, like, this is something extremely serious.
I looked out the window and I remember seeing a colleague of mine who I used to work with, who also worked at Martin Place, and I remember thinking, oh my God, Michael, can you see me in here?
I could see everyone across the road with cameras just looking, and I knew my family would be watching. That was hard.
As we were standing there and people were getting very, very upset and crying, and I thought he was going to shoot us in our back. I thought he was going to just start shooting.
He had a gun. I mean, you could see he had the intention to do harm.
I think it was at Joel's head, then it was at my head, then it was at someone else's head. So it was a lot of gun toting.
There would have been a time I would have been holding it for 2 hours, you know. My shoulders were aching, you know, my feet were killing me standing on a lounge.
I actually held it up upside down and then the wrong way around. And he got really irritated at me because I couldn't hold it up properly.
I stood at the windows facing Martin Place. Yeah, I saw the sniper there and the cameraman, and I just stared at them. I wasn't really thinking anything, I just stared at them. I was just like, can you see me?
So the second time I held the flag was to the left window, with Katrina to my left and Marcia to my right. And in that moment, we looked out and I could see Channel 7 straight across the road. And there was a man moving inside there. And I thought, get away. If he sees you, just move.
He, spotted, I think, a policeman outside at the very last window. And he got, I think it was Jared, to write down on a piece of paper, go away or he will kill us. And he told me to go up to the window and just hold it there for 2 minutes. So I just went and held it there. And outside I could hear the policeman say, this guy is crazy. And they left immediately because, you know, they didn't want anything to happen.
Then at just after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I said to Stefan Balafutis, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get down off my chair, slide on my left side, and slide over through the opening and then across over to the glass doors. So then he said, well, I'm going to follow you then.
I was shaking so much that he asked me to lie down. So I lay down on the long seat. I was in the centre by this time.
He was kneeling down behind the tables and chairs, and I thought, well, he looks pretty tired to me. I said, now is the time to make you move.
I remember just shaking, and we heard this bang.
I see John O'Brien, and he's trying to push his way to the front door, and so was Stefan.
I wasn't sure if the doors would open. I thought they may have been electronically locked from the middle of the room, but they weren't. So, hallelujah, we were able to get out.
I saw John go through, and I thought to myself, well, it's either going to be now or it may be never. And I ran. Yeah, I didn't turn around when I ran.
I immediately, jumped on the couch thinking that he was going to open fire, at will.
I had taken, I think it was Robin, to the toilet. I heard a loud noise outside, like it was just a lot of commotion. And when we came out, everyone was standing.
He's so angry, and he gets up and he goes, everyone get here, and he's like, get up, and everyone stops getting up obviously, and I've got my hands up now. He's right behind me, and he's got, all of us in a human shield around him.
He'd asked Louisa to stand up from her seat, stood me up as well, so I was in front of Louisa.
He grabbed me instantly and put me in front of him like a shield, and he's got the gun and he's facing forward, so it's all instant action.
And I remember we were all huddled in, and then he had all the tables squished in, and then chairs put all on the table in odd-looking positions.
At that time, he thought the police had got them out.
And so he thinks that he's under attack.
Everyone just moved in to where he was because he wanted to keep an eye on everyone.
Asked me every time to sit really close to him. I was touching his leg. I will never feel that impression go.
So he says, all right, if anyone else runs, I'm going to kill someone. Deal? And so everyone's like, yes, deal.
I didn't really have time to register, any emotions. I wasn't scared. I was just like, okay, I'll just do what he wants. I'll just stand in front of him.
And he said, right, eye for an eye. Who you're three gone, I have to shoot three of you. I thought, oh, Christ.
It did escalate extremely. It went not from 0 to 100, went from maybe 60 to 120. Everything got a lot more extreme.
And he literally was poised. I don't know what he was going to do. And I just saw these people right in front of me.
He goes, the police, and I go, if you kill someone, they're just gonna come into the building and storm the building and kill you. And he goes, but they'll be dead. And I said, well, so will you. And then he calmed down.
Fiona and Jared essentially turned into his gophers. He, for some reason, and I think only they can talk, particularly Fiona.
He trusted Fiona with, bringing people food, serving water, taking people to the bathroom,
I made it an enjoyable part of the day. Fancy going to the loo. And Jared would say, don't worry, Robin, we won't let anything happen to you. Like you're an old grandma or something, like we'll make sure you're looked after.
Fiona took me in there and I noticed she was on her phone.
Fiona, so that young woman, so stoic, so calm. What a little clever thing she was. Mobile phone in her pocket, my goodness. Taking a personal risk like that and sharing that with everyone. She didn't have to share. She didn't have to offer, but she did.
And I said, can I please, can I send a message to my mum? She said, yes. I said, Mum, I'm in the Lindt Cafe. I'm one of the hostages. I'm okay. I forgot to say, please don't respond to this number. Please don't call, which is instinctively what my mum would do out of sheer panic. I gave it back to Fiona and I said, thank you so much. I said, but you've got to delete everything. If he finds out, he will kill us all.
It just felt very safe in there because it felt, there's the physicality, there's a door behind you, but just, it was, shut off. So you felt you could do things you couldn't do outside in there, like talk, hug.
I was thinking, is this real? Am I really here right now? Or am I just daydreaming? you know, waiting for my break at work. And I'm gonna come and open those doors and the whole store's just gonna be hustling and bustling with people and it's gonna be 2 p.m.
I said, brother, I'm hungry. Can I please get something to eat? I said, yes, Fiona, get Selena something to eat and anyone else who wants it. And get me some tea. Up Fiona got.
I was bringing out the chicken focaccia and I was just like, he doesn't eat this, does he? So I put it down anyway. Yeah, and he asked me, you know, if it had ham in it. And I quietly said, no. And he said, is this halal? And I just, no. And then I had to go back, get him a vegetable roll. Yeah, I learned my lesson.
I had my eyes closed, but I could hear a female hyperventilating. That would have been Ellie.
I remember standing next to Jared and I said, where's April and Ellie? And he looked down and I followed where he was looking and they were hiding underneath the booth on that table next to the exit.
And then I looked over a little bit later and I saw April was standing up and she was pulling the deadbolt down on the side door. No one heard it, even the gunman. I was the only one that realised they were gone and that the door was open.
We were listening to the radio and then it announced that there were 5 escapees. So earlier he understood that there were 3 only.
Well, Georgie, we can tell you that just in the last few minutes we've been told that 2, possibly 3 hostages have just run out of the cafe.
3 have escaped, 3 have escaped. And another 2, and I thought, what are you talking about? This is wrong information.
And it just goes, like, tense. And he just goes, what? Someone said, you know, the media's lying. Like, because he'd already said the media is a lying instrument of the government to manipulate everyone. And so he goes, the media's just lying to you. Like you said, they're just trying to make the police look really good and make you look like you're an imbecile. And he believes it. And he believes it so much that he doesn't even accept that someone's told him this. He goes, I told you all, the media's just lying as propaganda.
Tony Abbott doesn't care about you. The police don't care about you. Constantly trying to brainwash us into sympathising with him.
Some time had passed, I remember. He's kind of getting frustrated because nothing was happening and it was getting darker.
Bit abandoned, alone, you know. Are we going to get out of here? Who's going to help us?
He asked a few people, do you want to call your families? And do you want to speak to them? And I think some people did.
In our own very personal ways, when those phone calls were made, it was like we were being read our last rites.
It was like poison in the heart, hearing other people talk to their families and say their last goodbyes. Always remember that.
With Katrina, everyone in the room heard what she said. And he asked what she talked about when she got off the phone and how old were the children.
It was truly just an awful thing to watch, to see people realising that they might not make it out alive and talking to their family members one last time.
Tori being with me and he was allowed to ring. That was just so fierce. And he sobbed and he sobbed.
Time's moving, everyone's extremely exhausted from what's happened throughout the day. You know, lights, he'd asked Fiona to turn the lights off.
Crazy, obsessed about any light. He got, you know, poor little Fiona running around turning off light switches that she couldn't find, but she just found them somehow. Turn this off, turn that off.
When the lights went off, suddenly sounds became a lot more, they affected him more in the fact that he was like, what's this sound? What's that sound? And Joel saying, it's just the ice machine, and he's not believing it's the ice machine. And so he's getting increasingly agitated.
So many times he just grabbed someone, put a gun to their head and use them as a shield. Just like just from the slightest noise.
And then everything outside had to be turned off. And they took hours on the phone to a certain person. And they were going to turn the lights off in the end, the last set of lights.
He was adamant that those street lights had to be turned off.
So I went to the corner, took my phone, called 000. And I said, hi, I'm Selena Winpay. I'm one of the hostages. He wants the lights out. Can you please switch these lights off? Please, please switch the lights off.
But with the lighting and the windows and the reflections, you can see like the reflection of like a police team like down the street.
That was one of the things he was so important to him, that there were no police around the cafe. And whilst we may have assumed that there were, we didn't know that there were.
And he leaned over to me and he said, I have to kill one person.
And that's when he told me to stack the boxes because he thought they would be able to get in through, you know, the fire exit door.
I remember I was sitting on the seat. I was kind of in a daze because I was extremely tired. Mostly everyone was. So I remember just waking up and seeing Fiona in front, Selena on the back of him, just walking to the first corridor.
I watched him go out the back with the two girls, left Jared sort of posted at the glass door.
So Fiona's putting the boxes, and there were quite a few boxes. They were lined up against this thing, and she's putting them.
When I was stacking boxes, he told me, he kept on asking me to do it more quickly. You kind of deduce that, you know, he's thinking, you know, the police might get in.
And so he left this main room, which he had never done before.
We started looking around saying, well, he's over there. We could possibly, you know, this might be a good opportunity for everyone to get out.
And everyone was looking at me because they all know that the side door's open.
I was almost finished and then there was a noise outside.
There were two little boxes left, 2 boxes on the ground that I could see. And as she was about to go and get them, heard this bang.
I just said, I'm going to go get help. And so I pushed on this back door and I just ran.
And I was just like, well, not without me. I'm coming along as well. And I remember just grabbing Harriet and everyone just started running for that door.
When the door was pushed open, without even thinking, I just ran.
And I'm at these front doors, like the sliding doors. And I put my fingers between them to like pry it open because it's not opening. And I like look over my shoulder and I just slam this button.
I heard a bang and I looked up and opened my eyes and they were all gone.
So quick. I can't believe how they organised themselves together.
And then he fired his first shot.
As we were running, he came running out and he started shooting at us.
The doors finally slowly open. Like I've never had doors open slower than that.
I swear I could feel pellets flying past my ears.
I got out of the door and I was like, I need to run really wide because if he's chasing us, there's 2 police standing against the wall. They'll just shoot him as we run past.
We just put our hands up saying, don't shoot, don't shoot.
I saw the door and I went, it's time to go. So I stood up from my chair and went forward, but at the same time went, but Mum's not coming. And Tori, why are they not moving? They weren't moving. In that moment, I went, I can't go. You know, I can't go. I can't leave Mum here. So what am I going to do? So I lay down on the floor. I lay down face first and put my hands above my head on the floor and waited.
I fell into the back part of where the chef makes his chocolate and the register, and I just crawled with my beads and my thing, trying not to make any noise. I just crawled to the very inside of that round area.
This is one of those moments, and if I'm going to die, I'm going to die here on the floor. Because for all the faith in my heart, logically I thought this has to be it, you know.
And I was looking around me and I thought, you can't move, he'll hear you and he'll come back.
He grabbed me instantly and put me in front of him like a shield.
Everybody down, get down on your knees. Get down on your knees.
And then he says to Tori, he says, you, and he calls him over. Says, kneel down and put your hands on your head.
It felt like a minute to me before he fired his second shot.
His demeanour completely changes. It's like he suddenly like steels himself, like suddenly goes very firm and very hard and very absolute in his body and feeling.
A groan of despair. And it was a voice that will never leave me that asked for God's mercy.
And then he shoots Tori.
I heard Tango Down over a police officer's radio, like a little walkie-talkie.
And we'd thought, oh, that's the gunman. And that's what they want us to believe.
In the beginning, he made it known that the first person he was going to shoot was going to be the manager. I didn't even know that was Tori at that point.
So when he was reloading, I was making 2 shots. He's reloading.
I could hear him reloading.
I saw it reloading.
I could hear him sort of shoving things in.
And then I went for the front door, and then I ran out. The police, was screaming, over here, over here. And I just remember running into the arms of the police.
And then the next minute there's lights, there's bright light. Then there was popping, like lots of popping noises, and then explosion noises.
Then I was just thinking, what's this noise?
It was just so quick. And the police were in. The minute there was a noise of an explosion.
And before I knew it, bang, 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 lights, things smashing.
I was closer to the door, and they blasted the door so quickly with hundreds of thousands of glass running everywhere, and my daughter's sort of behind me. But with the blast of the Tory's death, she got knocked over.
The noise was just deafening.
It just did, and then and glass and everything. I was lying like this. And I thought, why is it taking so long? Is he not dead yet? He's gonna get up from this?
I could hear the police yelling, "Police, police, you're safe, you're safe." And I remember covering my face with my hands thinking, I'm not so sure I'm safe. There's stuff going everywhere.
This sniper man, soldier-looking guy, big person, came behind, creeping behind, and he immediately saw me and he reached up, picked me up. And I said, oh my God, he said, you're safe now.
After I left, I saw Joel, Harriet, Jared. And I remember just us, we were just saying, oh, where's Tori? Do you think he's okay? Because, we just wanted to believe, he made it out.
I remember texting Tori, are you okay? Did you get out?
I looked up at the television, and the television was just saying, Sydney siege has ended, 3 people dead. And they showed this footage of someone getting pulled out in a body bag, and his leg was hanging out. And I knew it was Tori. I could see the shoes and the legs.
Just so random and tragic, and you can't. It doesn't come to rest in your heart. The 2 of them. Why them, and why not us, and why?
The guilt always will be there.
I just think of just how lucky I was on the day.
I went back the next day, and I remember seeing just the first few bouquets, just 2, I think 2 or 3 on the floor. And then, you see pictures of a sea, a whole sea, and, obviously thinking, wow, the whole, the public, everyone is affected by this. They're thinking about, the victims, and thinking about you, and I don't know. It's touching, yeah.
The enormous sense of community and hurt, frustration is a real spirit.
Things will never be the same, going back to work, but we'll find a way to make the new normal,
Flash forward 10 years, people grow apart, people move on, people do different things with career, but I think regardless of that, we always will have that connection, because we're able to survive and go through, and we're very thankful for that.
For me personally, it does not go away, but it is the thing that pushes me to continue to find the good or to find a good out of that awful situation.
Things could change very, very quickly. As you know, me working at a cafe and just doing my daily business and then get immediately thrust into a seared situation. Made me kind of realise that you can make the most of every moment in your life. Things can change in the blink of an eye. It's going to sound cliche, but it's a reality.
I remember friends telling me about what was happening in Martin Place after the siege, and I cannot tell you the comfort it brought me to know that people were bringing flowers, people were coming together, talking to random strangers, praying together. Muslim people were being, embraced and understanding that they too were grieving. Those things that make us who we are, those things are to be remembered as well as we think about memorialisation for the Lindt Café.